Welcome back to my channel Kishore Sargi Pathshala. We are doing chapter Acid, Bases and Salt 10th Cbse. Let's see today's topic. So are the crystals of the salt really dry? So we have seen here what are the salts all about. Salts are nothing but what? When acid and base react together they form salt and water. Right. So are the crystals of salts really dry? Right. So let us take example of copper sulfate. If you see this nicely blue colored crystals are there of copper. Okay, blue colored crystals of copper are there. So what we are going to do? We are going to take this blue color crystals in a hard glass test tube. Okay, right. And what we'll do, we'll heat this test tube which contains this copper sulfate. Now when you heat this test tube, what you see is that the blue color, right, okay, in of the copper sulfate is lost. Okay, and eventually you are getting what? You are getting a white colored powder, right? So what we are seeing is that we notice water droplets on the upper part of the boiling tube. If you see the upper part of the boiling tube, you will see that there will be a water droplets will be there, right? Okay, now from where this water droplet came? This water droplets came from the crystals of copper sulfate itself, right? So these are the water droplets which came from the copper sulfate, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to add, after we have got this white colored powder, what we are going to do, we are going to add drops of water into this test tube, white colored powder test tube of copper sulfate. So what we see is that the color, blue color of the copper sulfate is regained, right? Okay, so blue color is regained here, okay, is restored. Okay, so what we see is that it was blue colored crystals. When we heated it turned into white powder, and when we add water, what happened is that blue color again got restored, right? So now why this thing happens? So what you see is that copper sulfate crystals, which seems to be dry, when you hold this you see it is dry, but it contains what? It contains water of crystallization, right? So when we heat this crystal, what happens? The water is removed. The water is removed from that, right? Okay, so this is the water of crystallization. When we heat this, what happens? This water gets removed, right? So if you moisten this crystals again with water, what happens? You will see that the blue color of the crystals reappears, right? Then what will happen if we remove this and we add water into this? Again you will get this crystals blue color. So water of crystallization is nothing but it is the fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt, right? So it is a fixed amount of this water molecules are there in a unit of a salt. So in copper sulfate, what you see, 5 water molecules are present in one unit formula of copper sulfate, right? So that's the reason the hydrated copper sulfate is nothing but CuSO4, that is my 5H2O, and this is my water of crystallization. Okay, this is my water of crystallization, right? So let's see example of gypsum. So what we see, gypsum, it poses what? It poses water of crystallization. Now what is gypsum? Gypsum is nothing but calcium sulfate hydrated, right? Okay, it is CaSO4 2H2O. So how many water molecules it has got? It has got 2 water molecules as the water of crystallization, right? Okay, so gypsum is there, very important. So what we have here, the gypsum is, so what we have got two water molecules attached to calcium sulfate. Then what you see, what we understand by plaster of Paris. You might have seen plaster of Paris, right? The uses of plaster of Paris as such. So toys are made and it is used in the interior of the houses, right? So it is also called as POP. Okay, so plaster of Paris is also used by the doctors, right, for plaster purpose or for the fractured bones to keep in a right position. This is the way it is used. So plaster of Paris is nothing but it is a white colored powder will be there. Okay, that powder is there. You mix water into that, then what will happen? It changes into a hard substance, right? Okay, hard substance, but hard substance is nothing but that is my gypsum. Okay, just now we have seen that it changes into gypsum. What is my gypsum? CaSO4 2H2O. It converts into gypsum. All right. So what we see is that when you heat gypsum, see gypsum is there. When you heat this gypsum, that is my CaSO4 2H2O. When you heat it, right? Okay, what happens? It loses its water of water molecules and becomes calcium sulfate hemihydrate. See here, it becomes what? Calcium sulfate hemihydrate, that is CSO4 half H2O. Okay, we are going to see how this half H2 is there. Okay, so this is nothing but this is called a plaster of Paris. This is my plaster of Paris. Okay, we have just now seen how this plaster of Paris is used. Okay, in our day-to-day life, right? So let's see. Only half a water molecule is shown to be attached as water of crystallization. Here you see hemihydrate, right? Here you see half a molecule is being shown. Okay, is it possible that half a molecule is being attached to this? No. You'll see that it is written in this form. Why? Because two formula unit of calcium sulfate share one molecule of water, right? See, like this will be there. So what they are doing, one molecule of water they will be sharing, right? Okay. So what you see, two formula unit of calcium sulfate shares one molecule of water. So plaster of Paris, as we have seen, has got a wide use of making toys, material for decorations, and for making surface smooth. Okay. So we have seen how the plaster of Paris is useful in a day-to-day life, and we have also understood what is water of crystallization, right? How the color of copper sulfate changes when heated from blue to white, and how it again regains its color when water is added to it. Students, I am sure you have understood today's topic. So kindly like, share and subscribe my channel Kishore Sir Ki Pathshala for more informative videos.